The sitting of the Lagos Judicial Panel of Inquiry for the Restitution of Victims of SARS-related abuses came to a close exactly a year after it was inaugurated by Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu on the 19th of October 2020, following the wave of SARS protests in the state. After a series of decisions and compensations given to deserving petitioners, Justice Okuwobi brought the panel to a close, stating that the panel's findings regarding the Lekki Tollgate incident will be submitted to Lagos State through the Attorney General, Moyosore Onigbanjo.
That the panel has ended its tenure, which takes effect from tomorrow, 19th October 2021, but which is a public holiday. So we are ending the panel's assignment today. In this 1 year, the panel has dealt with a very, very heavy docket of 235 petitions, but some with multiple petitioners, giving us a sum total of 252 petitions and the investigation of the Lekki incident of 20th October 2020. The panel conducted 186 petitions, and we have 52 yet to be taken. The Lekki investigation was completed by the panel, and the panel is working on its report. For petitions not concluded and those not even opened at all, the files will be recommended in our report to be sent back to the Lagos State Ministry of Justice, the supervisory ministry, for the purposes of government's consideration of whatever body that would take up handling of human rights violations in Lagos State. In respect of Lekki investigations and individual petitions concluded, the panel will submit in its report the outcome of findings in respect of Lekki individual petitions and make the necessary recommendation on compensation to be paid to the petitioners.
Well, for more on this, let's turn to Ndi Kato, the Executive Director, Dinidari Foundation. Thank you so much, Ndi, for joining us on Newsnight.
Thank you.
Well, as one of those at the forefront of the call for justice for police brutality that's come to be known as SARS, 1 year after, has much changed in terms of the experiences or the engagement of the interface between the police and Nigerians? Has much changed in terms of what you expect for police reforms in the last 1 year?
Not really. In fact, what we have seen is a worsening situation, and I'll call it they're emboldened now. If you remember, I would like to use the example of Arise TV actually back then, when the cameraman who went upstairs to shoot the IG of police actually saying that SARS had come to an end and people should move around, they should not be afraid. And he just went downstairs and had his head.
Yeah, Francis.
Yes, Francis. And we remember that incident. And that incident showed us clearly that the chain of command in the Nigerian police, has clearly been broken. Those at the top have no control. Like the IG and the men just right outside his office, no control. The IG also did that tour, if you remember, because on realizing he didn't have any control, he didn't stay on the side of the citizen. He decided, look, we need to look for how to make peace with these guys to get power for ourselves. So he went around emboldening them and telling them they could shoot. That lack of repercussion, that lack of justice we have seen really emboldened. We still have, allegedly some boy from prison actually said that there are 300 of them in one of the prisons. They're still waiting.
Nicholas.
Yes,
so
you had
others.
Police still stopping people on the road and saying, oh, so you people thought you could do SARS, we'll deal with you. You had young people, that feeling, from the 20th of October, there's been a feeling of, a lot of young people just basically gave up. And we've seen on the side of the police a hammering down, increased extortion of boys. At this point, kidnapping of young people and demanding almost every day on social media. It's one news or the other. So it hasn't really changed. Police-citizen relationship at an all-time low.
Well, like they say, you're going to definitely have bad eggs And one bad egg may not be enough to draw a general conclusion about the fact that the top hierarchy of the police is not controlling the rest, because you're definitely going to have bad eggs. But that's by the way. What would you say are the lessons learned on both sides, both for the NSAS movement and, of course, for the police or the federal government, as the case may be?
I think for the NSAS movement, especially for us young people, is harnessing the power of the streets. Because post October 20th, 2020, people, street people, poorer people actually came out. There were a lot of middle to upper class young people out there on the streets. And you know, we're quite convenient because we have something to lose, right? When our businesses are threatened, you've stayed outside a while, you can't do work. You know, when it's people's business, they're getting burnt. But poorer people, when they come out, they know that they're putting their lives out there. They have nothing to lose. They want something better. And after October 20th, it's like, okay, a certain class of people had decided we have not seen this kind of thing before and went indoors. But poorer people had come out and they died in numbers, and we don't even recognize that. On the side of the police, you know, you made mention of bad eggs, and I'll refer to a Chris Rock joke where he says there are some careers that cannot afford bad eggs. Kind of like a pilot. That was the example he used, that if they tell you, oh, all the pilots are good, but this one pilot may crash you just getting, you won't want to get in there. And that is what we need from the Nigerian police, that bad eggs in a situation where you are armed and you're supposed to protect and you have the power to decide certain things. I don't think we can afford bad eggs like that.
You have them all over the world, even in America. You have bad eggs.
Yes, and unfortunately,
you know, a Nigerian
yes,
thing.
America should not be the example for anything.
No, it's not about the example.
Yes,
it's about the fact that this is a
but
society.
we can't. Yes, in a society, we really can't afford it. It's the truth of the matter. We can't afford it. This is not saying, oh, every single policeman is bad. I do appreciate them, especially in Abuja. You know, security is deteriorating, and you have these men outside every night trying to protect us. I live in one of the suburbs in Abuja, and I'm really grateful that they are there. But at the same time, we must come back to a concept of justice. We must come back to a concept of discipline and ensure that, look, in terms of policing, the citizen, the life of the citizen, the value of the Nigerian life is put forefront in everything.
What will justice look like, especially for the victims? And I do recall the 5 for 5. One of those demands was actually to reform the police in the interest of the police itself.
Yes.
So that means NSAS actually recognizes the fact that the police too,
yes,
need
that,
you know, some kind of help. Did NSAS fail?
I
would say?
I would say that as a young person, especially for one who faced October 20th, 2020, I remember that day when the news hit me and we're watching it. I cried like I was mourning my own husband. And after that, I just, you know, it was a disconnect. Something inside me died. And most times, you know, you see a lot of politicians talk, the older generation. You know, when you're coming up, you're young and you think, oh, we're going to change the world, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And there's a sense of resignation from older Nigerians. And I think there's something Nigeria does to you that you will get to, where when you see the older ones doing, you know what, we'll just do what we can. And in our little space, just do what we can to manage it. You see somebody has won election, a governor or something, he's like, I'll just do what I can in education, in this and in that. And I think you get to that place after October 20th. I do wish that we still have that fighting spirit, but in many of us.
You think that fighting spirit is
for many something died.
Do you think the questions have been answered as to who done it? In the case of October 2020, of course, who did it? Why was it done? I'm talking about the shootings now. Were live bullets used? Have those questions been answered in a way that, you know, is satisfying for you?
Local and international media have done all of this investigation. And of course, who better to know than the media and all of the efforts being put into that. And they have come to, yes, live bullets were used. They've traced these bullets to, you know, armed personnel, armed state actors within Nigeria. These are the people that use this. BBC has done. Who hasn't done? We have had enough work done on this. And yes, Nigerian youths were killed that day. And what we are missing right now is, again, justice, accountability, because the back and forth is disheartening. It's that you did this and then the gaslighting for something that was live, and then to tell people that it was green screen, Instagram live. That doesn't happen. It is disrespectful to the memory of the people who died that day. Almost everything I look back and like, no, this is just a bit too.
All right, the panel has done its work. We just watched Lagos saying they will submit theirs. Some others have submitted theirs.
Yeah.
The VP and the NEC, that is the National Economic Council, after their meeting and came out, their compensations have been made. And they're now setting up a committees to get the federal government and the states to reconcile and then pay more compensations. What's your sense of that?
Well, compensations are good, but also justice is not limited to funds. If within the police, the system of the Nigerian police, we don't see repercussion, or the system of the army.
They've also added that.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
the police people who were found guilty will be
we
prosecuted.
need to see that, and we also need to see no sacred cows. Even if it's the son of somebody big or somebody well-connected that carried this out, we need to see that sense of justice is what completes this. So we need to see names were mentioned that day. We know where they came from. People showed there were videos from what barracks they left on the island and went to that place. These things are well known. So when people see that the people who are guilty of this are scapegoated, brought out for the nation to see, there will be a sense of closure.
The NEC has been urging youths not to go out, to reconsider the planned protests. Are you in support of an NSAS 2, for want of a better word?
I would say that a lot of young people, of course, if something dies inside you, you won't be as enthusiastic, right, to come out and want to do that. And there will be a lot of young people who wouldn't. I remember having that conversation with myself that I don't think I want to meet the Nigerian government with my mortality anymore, right? You take to the streets and it's just your life you have there. There's so many other things I can do in this system right now to create change. These are things we're already doing. We're working within civil society. So I personally might not take to the streets again. And it's not for fear. It's just, again, there's so many more things you can do to the Nigerian government. And of course, within the confines of legality to ensure that there is change. And we are going to explore all of those angles.
That was actually his advice, the advice of the BD. There are so many ways, other ways they can tackle it. Well, thank you so much, Ndi Kato, Executive Director, Dinidari Foundation, for being on News 9.